We are with Mr. Steve Egan. Mr. Steve Egan is running for sheriff on a Democrat ticket. Steve believes that we can cut wasteful spending and create jobs. Am I not right, Steve?
Absolutely, Julian.
Absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about how you can do that.
Well, I know we all will have the same budget constraints, but with all my experience on the department, I've seen a lot of programs that need to be restructured and changed, and then you can allocate that same kind of money towards expanding the services for the citizens of Will County.
Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about why you're running.
Well, I've been a police officer my whole career, my whole adult life. I was in the academy on my 21st birthday, and I'm very proud of the fact of my career, and love the department, love the employees. They're a great bunch of people, and I feel that the department, with the current sheriff retiring, we need to take it in a new direction and make it a better department than it already is.
Okay, all right, so when you say take it to a new direction and make it a better department than it already is, what do you bring to the table to do that?
All my years of experience.
Okay, all right.
I'm a shift commander now, so and I work shift work, so both afternoon shift, midnight shift, and I'm out with the directly responsible for the countywide operations. When the sheriff goes home at the end of his day, I'm the boss.
Okay. Oh wow! So you're already the boss, huh?
Yes. That is one of the things that frustrates a lot of the employees, I believe. That it's not based on qualifications as much as it is who you know or who you're connected with.
Okay, well, I know that the county is a very huge department, and there are lots of growth that's going on here. We have the new systems that are all coming in here. Let's talk a little bit about how you would cover that. You know, what would you do to make sure that those areas are all safe and covered?
That would go into the restructuring and the reprogramming that I was talking about. Bottom line is, yes, the county population continues to grow, both in incorporated areas and in unincorporated areas. And we definitely need more deputies out on the street. And one way to do that without incurring additional taxpayers, you know, I'm a taxpayer in Will County too. So it's just like if I have to spend my own money. The union wants to go to 12-hour shifts, and I'm all for that if that's what they want to do. It's up to the majority of the deputies in the union, but they have presented that in the past, and it's been squashed. And that would immediately, with the same amount of personnel, put more people out in the street by going to 12-hour shifts, probably about 10% more coverage. And that's one way. And we need to expand services tremendously. I compare our department is like our building. It's very antiquated. And it's just the mentality right now is, well, this is the way we've always done it. We can't have that thought process. I mean, police departments are 24/7. And our patrolmen are. I don't want to have this scare the citizens that we're not. But when it comes to the sheriff's department, does a lot more than municipal police. We have court services. We have civil process and things that people need, even if they live in the city. The sheriff is important to them because that's the services we provide that the city cops don't. So in that regard, our services right now, basically, except for patrol, are 8 to 4 Monday through Friday. And I can't tell you how many times as an afternoon shift commander that people will stop at the police department to get an accident report. And they don't want to have to take off work, so 6 o'clock on their way home or on the weekend, and we're 8 to 4 with the doors closed on the weekends. And you can't, in today's day and age, you have to provide the public with those amenities. So one of the things that would be a new program would be to take, again, some of the people so nobody lost their job, and some job that we were going to get rid of because it wasn't practical, we would use those additional personnel to expand the record section, let's say. And that's just one example.
Absolutely. Well, and that's a great example as well.
But we can't be Monday through Friday in today's day and age when it comes to helping the citizens of Will County meet their needs.
Absolutely. Monday through Friday. I never knew that.
Well, and a lot of the current process is, well, they can go to our website and they can order an accident report for that. Do you know how many people in Will County that still don't have computers at home, and they still
Well,
can't afford to
you're
go to a
right.
website.
You're right, Steve. You're
I mean,
right.
I was born and raised in a family with 6 kids,
Mhm.
blue collar. My
Mhm.
dad was a fireman,
Mhm.
and he worked hard to raise us all.
Mhm.
And, you know, so I'm not born with the silver spoon in my
right,
mouth.
right.
And they've got to realize that there's still thousands of people out there
Yeah.
that do not
Yeah.
go into the electronic
They are
age.
not on the informational highway.
Right. They just want to
That's
stop in
right.
and, again, get a report or whatever they
Absolutely.
need. And, you know, we
Absolutely.
need to be there for them.
Yeah, I would like to know, Steve, once you get into the seat
Yes.
of Will County Sheriff, what would be your first 100-day agenda?
Wow, that's a good question,
Yeah.
Julia. That one took me by surprise.
Okay.
I would say, well, we've got a great group of people together
Okay.
and a lot of intelligence. What it
Okay.
would be would just to get them organized.
Okay.
Because again, a single person cannot run a department
Right,
that size. There's a
absolutely.
lot of good people there with good
Yeah.
ideas,
Mhm.
and we would brainstorm on exactly the programs I'm talking
Okay.
about, how we're going to meet the needs,
Okay.
or expand the needs.
Mhm,
And,
mhm.
you know, I know
Yeah.
what our problems are.
Okay.
Just by my
Yeah.
previous example of
Absolutely.
people talking to people off the street when they're frustrated with us, and not be afraid to look at other police departments. And I use Joliet as an example because Joliet has a 24/7 operation. In other words, you can walk in there at 2 o'clock in the morning
Mhm.
and make a police report out.
Mhm.
We don't have that even.
Okay.
If someone comes in our department, we have to call a squad in off the street to take a police report, which then means he has to leave his area of assignment, and that area goes unprotected in that section of Joliet
Okay.
while he's in the station.
Okay.
Well, we can have staff do that.
Right, right.
And, you know,
Mhm,
so,
mhm.
and that's what I mean by it. There's just
Yeah.
ways to become much more efficient without
Yeah.
having to spend more money.
Yes. Well, I was listening to you before, and you were talking about maybe some of the behind the desk people.
Yes.
They can return out there.
That is another way to
Okay.
increase manpower. We
Okay.
have supervisors, sworn
Mhm.
police officers that
Mhm.
carry a gun that are behind desk jobs.
Okay.
That
Mhm.
civilians can do at less money, less
Yeah.
cost.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And then put the police officer back to doing real police work.
Okay, that's
and
one
not
of those creating
administrative-
jobs
Exactly.
and then giving more protection on top
Right.
of it. So you're covering a couple of areas with that, which
Yes,
I
I
think
am.
is a very good idea. Yeah.
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about that.
The contracts with all the
Yeah.
employees?
Yes.
Well, the county has the funds.
Okay.
So they cannot cry poor.
Okay.
I have been on union boards. I was,
Okay.
before we went to the Fraternal Order of Police in the
Mhm.
year 2000,
Mhm.
we were AFSCME employees.
Okay.
All right, and the civilians
Okay.
still are.
Mhm.
So I have supported AFSCME because back in the 9 years I was an AFSCME member, 4 of those was on their executive board as an elected official with
Okay.
them.
Mhm.
And then I've been on union boards my whole life.
Okay.
My dad was a Joliet firefighter, and he was president of the firefighters
Okay,
union.
all right.
So we're blue collar,
Yes.
we're pro-union.
Yes. Okay.
And if someone's not, thinks that the unions, you know, they're there to protect the employees, to give them basically what they deserve and
Okay.
stand up for them.
Mhm.
And so that there isn't the pick and choose
Okay.
in type of, you know, that there's
Absolutely.
fairness, and that's what there
Yeah.
needs to be.
Mhm.
And you know what, I've got to mention, as long as you've asked this question,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, AFSCME did a wonderful thing.
Mhm.
They gave up in their last contract.
Mhm.
They agreed with the county not to take any raises or cost of living raises for 3 years.
Wow.
With the expectations of coming back this time now
Right.
and
Mhm.
getting a fair contract.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, I don't care who watches this. I don't
Mhm.
care if it's Larry Walsh, the executive
Mhm.
of the county or
Right.
not.
Mhm. Mhm.
They are not playing fair with the employees at this point.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
They should just be saying, thank you for that 3-year break
Right.
and getting us ahead.
Right.
But
So what
they're
is it
sitting
that
on
they-
millions of dollars. This is not where, you know,
Okay.
the city of Joliet has a tendency once in a while, nothing against them, but they
Okay.
for whatever their costs are, and I
Mhm.
can't evaluate that.
Okay.
Other than we know from, I live in Joliet.
Right.
Being, that they run in the red.
Okay.
The county, that's not
Yeah.
the county. The
Right.
county is surplus with
Yes.
money.
Yes.
Why they don't want to just give their employees a decent cost of living
Cost of living.
is beyond me. They're not asking for the world. They're not getting overpaid.
Okay.
In fact, compared to their jobs in other government organizations, they're actually underpaid.
Well, would it be too much if I ask you what percentage they're asking for on the cost of living, or?
I honestly, not being in their union anymore,
Okay.
do not know their current
Okay.
situation. But I know they're still they're trying to avoid, a striking situation.
Okay.
They don't want to, but again, the county's forcing them into that position, and they don't want to hurt the citizens of Will County.
Okay.
I know these people, and, there's a lot of AFSCME people on the Sheriff's
Right.
Department. They're our
Right.
support staff,
Right.
and they're very dedicated, and it's just a shame that they have to
Yeah.
go to these extremes to get a
Yeah.
decent contract.
Well, let me ask you this. If this carries on into the next election, after the election, when you get in office, would that be one of the first things that you will attend to once you get in there?
The contract?
Yes.
Well, when they come up for renewal,
Yes.
I can say one thing to anybody that's watching,
Okay.
that I'm going to look at, if that's legitimate like now, I'm on the side of AFSCME with
Okay.
this.
Mm-hmm.
If the county was legitimately broke and didn't have the money, that would be one thing.
Yes.
But in this case, I'm not gonna, I'll say for the lack of a better term, go to the other side
Okay.
and be against the union. No, I'm very much in support that, union or non-union,
Okay.
to everybody out there, that it's what's fair.
Okay.
That's all I'm looking for, and it's the
Okay.
same way with how I run the department. There's no double standards here. And that's why I'm running. We're frustrated. We've been frustrated, and I said, you know what, I can't sit back anymore and just continue. I ran last time, but
Yes.
it's hard to beat an incumbent.
Yes, yes.
So,
Okay.
and I did that because he was running unopposed, and Rich Gerard was running with him, and he was running Democrat, and he's a friend of mine. And our common goal was the same thing, was to change the direction of the department and make it a better place to work.
The privilege of listening to you talk, do a presentation in front of the memorial downtown, and you were asked the question, why did you run on a Republican ticket and now a Democrat ticket? What's your answer to that?
I love to answer that. It's my sincere, truthful answer. Law enforcement should not play a part in politics at all. Unfortunately, that's the way the state law is, that I have to claim a party if I want to be the boss.
Okay.
And in regards to that same thing, last time around, we wanted this same change 4 years ago. But a good friend of mine was running on the Democrat ticket, Rich Gerard, in fact, and Ed Bradley, and Pete Piazza. They were all department members, but they were already all on the Democrat side. And Sheriff Kopus was sitting back unopposed. And so even if the parties had been reversed, we're not about parties. We're not, at least I'm not a politician. I'm going for whoever's the best
Yeah,
candidate.
you said that. You'd rather have police than politicians.
Right,
Yeah.
but it's un-American for somebody just to sit there and sit back unopposed in the primary. And since they were already beating the same drum as myself, going, we need change,
Yes.
okay? I wasn't gonna just jump in on the Democrat side and be break the vote up even more.
Right,
So I went Republican because, in honesty, I have both Republican and Democrat friends.
Okay.
I'm not a career politician, I'm a career law enforcement.
Okay.
I'm a cop.
Okay.
You
all
know,
right.
and so
Okay.
I embrace that. I want
Right.
everybody to know that, I keep, they challenge me about these party loyalties. It's not party loyalties, it's who's gonna do the job.
Well, when you're serving, Steve, and you're in office, you're not just serving a Democrat or a Republican.
You're serving all the citizens of Will County.
Yes,
And so I
absolutely.
really wish that the statutes wasn't what they
Yes,
were, where we have to claim a party at all. But since we do, and answering your question, yes, I ran Republican last time because Sheriff Kopus was sitting unopposed, and that's not right.
Okay.
So I jumped in to help them out, but in a different way, to make him have an opponent and not hurt them on the Democrat side, and we had a common goal. Actually, a lot of us worked together, and when we walked neighborhoods for to get petitions signed, they had both mine and the Democrats, and if the person was Republican, they would say, well, I'm Republican. I said, well, then sign Steve Egan. And if they were Democrat, they said, then they sign Rich Geratz or something. So it was just, why are you doing, our employees, why are you doing both? And it says, well, because either one of these guys is going to be good for our department.
Absolutely. With the past events that has been occurring with the children and the drugs and all this, how would you tackle that?
Very easily.
Okay.
I spent 4 years in undercover narcotics myself earlier in my career before I was promoted to lieutenant. And I've got firsthand experience in drug operations. Okay. And we right now, I do not believe that the current way we're set up, are we focusing on like the current heroin problem. Okay, it's an epidemic. And it needs to be addressed. But our gang unit, that's currently run by again, this is that nepotism. It's the sheriff's son-in-law who's in charge of the gang unit. And we just need, I would form a drug unit specifically for Will County. All right.
Now, is it a fact that there was some heroin stolen or missing from the?
Yes, absolutely.
From the possession of the
sheriff's? Yes, it was.
Wow.
Right from the sheriff's compound.
Wow.
Now, new measures have been put in place, but it was actually a legitimate burglary of the outside compound.
Wow.
Where we had buildings, external buildings, where we stored evidence. But there was a, without naming names, there was a policy violation there. All guns and drugs are kept in the main police department vault. For that reason. Somehow they got put outside with the bicycles and the construction equipment and the rest of the stuff. So yes, it was in the papers. We did have heroin confiscated from a outside burglar that knew that it was there and managed to get in. And since then, security's been increased. There's been cameras all put around the compound, and there's no more drugs outside anyway. So anybody watching this is, if you want to steal a $20 bicycle we found in the weeds, have at it.
Well, if you want a felony and spend how many years in jail for a bicycle.
For a bicycle, exactly.
Absolutely.
So they put, it's like kind of like closing the barn door after the horse is gone.
All right.
That's the way to put it. And the heroin never should have been out there to begin with. So I'm not going to name names or point fingers, but this is the type of inadequate administration that things that are currently in place going on. That's what gets me so frustrated to not to have us continue being embarrassed or being sued over all these different things that we investigate, and it's not the detectives. The detectives take their orders from the bosses. We've got good detectives. They know how to do their job, but they don't call the shots. And again, when we've had those past circumstances of, whether it be the Riley Fox case.
Yes, tell me a little bit about that case.
Oh, it was, Julia, we'd need all day. It was a fiasco.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's been gone over in the papers, and everybody out there in Will County pretty much knows that case and knows of that was just one blunder. Operation Sleepover was another huge blunder that cost the county taxpayers a couple $1 million for us to settle out of court. We keep getting sued.
Wow.
Well, right away, we've got insurance. They wanted to say, well, it didn't come out of taxpayers' money. We've got insurance for when we get sued. Yeah, we got insurance, but we still have a huge deductible. So if we get sued for $2 million, but the deductible's $500,000, that still comes out of county coffers. It's still my money, your money, AFSCME's money. It's like, so, you can't stop getting sued. But if you get sued, but you did your job the right way, that suit's going to get thrown out. We're not going to be writing checks. So the Bumblebee killer, it's the same thing. Remember the wrong guy there? They defend that, and that's their privilege to do so. But I mean, under my administration, we are going to take things one step at a time and be sure that we're 100% right. That when we take action, we're going to be locking up the right person.
Absolutely. Well, I there is an array of things
Absolutely.
that's awaiting on you when you get
Yes,
in there.
there is. If I have a message to the citizens of Will County
Yes.
is, we need to stop
Yes. Yes.
the mistakes we're making as best as possible.
I look into that camera and
Okay.
really tell them that.
Well, I will.
Go ahead.
You know, we really need to stop
Mhm.
having a track record
Mhm.
of getting sued,
Yeah.
making huge blunders in our investigations,
Yes.
and having egg on our face.
Yes.
And we have the personnel with the intelligence.
Yes.
I mean, this is not any fresh, unique Steve Egan idea.
Yes,
This
absolutely.
is taking experienced individuals
Mhm.
and having teamwork and understanding that we go and we lock up a bad guy,
Yes.
he really did the crime.
Yes. Okay. Good.
That's the thing.
Good,
We're not going to
good.
be locking up innocent people.
Good,
That's our
absolutely.
track record is not good that way.
Ab-
Like, when I go out east and talk to the farmers in the
Mhm,
rural area, okay,
mhm.
they're getting burglaries constantly, and the burglars generally come in from either Indiana or down from the city. They're not even Will County residents sometimes.
Really?
These burglary crews,
Wow.
but they're using ATVs or something. And
Yeah.
I talk to farmers who are frustrated. We can't catch them with
Yeah.
a squad car.
Right.
How do you catch a burglar using an ATV with a squad car?
Okay.
So what you need to do is have creative thinking, and the detectives and the undercover guy knows ways to set up, that's situations where they can, if they're allowed, they're just, again, the staffing and the manpower, we need to redirect so that we can put some teams together and go after these people.
That's right.
And then,
That's right.
and that's what the citizen out there in rural Will County or here in Illinois, that's what their expectations are
Wow.
for their money, and
Yeah.
they should get that.
Absolutely.
And so I'm really sincere about making this a better department.
Mhm.
We will totally, there will be more changes than what stays the same.
Absolutely.
What really needs to happen is the old mentality that's here now, the politician or the ones that have this current thought process
Right,
on what they're doing,
Mhm.
needs to retire and go. There's not a place for them here now. Basically, I've been around for 5 sheriffs,
Okay.
okay?
All right.
When I was back in Mans, it was Sheriff Shelley before I went from the Joliet Police Department over to the Sheriff's Office.
Okay, so
And-
you work as a Joliet police?
Yes, I did.
Get out of here.
That's where my career started.
Okay,
Yes,
all
and,
right.
I've seen 5 sheriffs
Wow.
run the department.
Okay.
And if anything else, I'd like to say I learned by their mistakes.
Okay.
And
Okay.
coming in as the new sheriff, they have a common thing, and I know you have to become somewhat of a politician in order to accomplish your goals.
Mhm.
So I'm not naive to that.
Mhm,
But at the same time, they all have the same habit of becoming out of touch with their
Okay.
employees.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is they would go to the courthouse, they have an office there, of course, on our first floor. And they go 9 to 5, Monday through Friday,
Okay.
all right?
Mhm.
And at the time, all my whole career, I've worked shift work.
Mhm.
And after someone becomes sheriff, they never see him again.
Okay.
The day-to-day
Okay. Mhm.
worker bees
Mhm.
that work midnight shift and work afternoon shift never see the sheriff anymore.
Wow.
I haven't seen the sheriff, I've seen him once this past year,
Yeah.
all right? And our main operation's at Laraway,
Okay.
so I'm gonna kind of be an unorthodox sheriff
Right,
in the
okay,
fact that I've told
okay.
many of the employees, I'm fortunate enough that my children are gone off to college.
Okay. Mhm.
All right, so I have a really bizarre work schedule now
Okay.
because even though I'm the most senior lieutenant in the department, we do not have seniority rights.
Oh, wow.
We're considered upper management,
Wow.
and the sheriff can put us wherever he wants to.
Wow.
So, anyway, I've seen them all become a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 boss. And I've already told the people I'm close to, and hopefully the word will get out to others, that the best way to say that I'm going to be a very unorthodox sheriff in the fact that you will see me at the jail at 2 in the morning, or you will see me out at Laraway at
Okay.
8 at night.
Okay.
Because it's the employees. You're only good as leaders, your employees.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And they all represent me
Mhm.
as the sheriff. So when someone comes in contact with a deputy on the street, or a correctional officer, or one of the civilian staff at the window, your level of professionalism is a direct impact on the whole department.
So does it mean you're going to have an open door policy? I can come in and talk to you when I'm ready?
Absolutely.
And
certainly
that's
can.
great. That's great, because I think that's what we need. You need to be visible.
But to be honest with you, I am the only supervisor out there in the field
Good.
right now, of all of us,
Good.
with day-to-day, and I see the employees, and I've told them all that you're not going to quit seeing me when I become sheriff.
Yes, good.
I'm still going to be out here at 2 in the morning.
That's
all
great.
right?
That's great.
You know, and I'm still going to stay grounded, and I'm still going to stay in touch. That's the only way you still know what the problems are.
Absolutely.
The other sheriffs in the past, they insulate themselves with the upper echelon, and they're a bunch of yes guys that just tell him what he wants to hear.
Yes.
Everything's
Yes.
hunky-dory, you know, for lack of a better term.
Yes.
You know, I'm sorry, I'm
Okay,
just down to
that's all
earth.
right,
And,
that's okay.
Yeah, and you know, they just, they don't stay in touch with what day-to-day problems are.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Get lost,
I'm running, again, it's, no matter who's there, when the sheriff goes home and lays his head on the pillow at night, all right, and I'm the one out there, I make all the decisions countywide. I don't call him on the phone and wake him up and say, hey, we've got this problem or that problem, okay? I deal with it.
You do.
Okay, and so knowing that, you know, that first-hand experience, knowing what these personnel want,
Right.
know what they need. If you get them, I believe in the happy camper syndrome.
Yes,
That's what I
yes.
call it. You know, your employees will be naturally productive
Yes.
if you lead by example.
And that's what I was going to say, because you want productive employees, so you want to take off as much stress and burden and strain on them as you possibly can.
To be honest with you, right now, and no one will deny this. 600 employees and 590 of them will tell you that they are intimidated and fear of speaking out, being vocal, standing up for. I mean, whoever their boss is a direct impact on their job.
Wow.
Okay, so even if it's not for Steve Egan or if it's for one of the other candidates, they need to take a stand, because whoever gets the position now will lead the department in either a good direction or continue in a bad direction based on what their thought process is. But I guess what I'm saying is that seeing all these sheriffs, and I'm just not going to go down, we call the courthouse the Ivory Tower. And I'm not going to be down at the Ivory Tower as much. I mean, yes, the staff is there. We'll have our operations the same for the citizens that need those things there. But I don't necessarily, I'm not a 9-to-5 person, never have been. So being a cop my whole life, I'm going to continue to work some very different hours.
Absolutely.
You know, work evenings, work that, and and as long as you meet the employees' needs.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I think
you got half the battle. You have half the battle fought.
Oh, absolutely.
If you meet the employees' needs, because then they can go out into the community.
Yes. You know what?
They can do a good job.
It's harder trying to convince the people of Will County they need a new sheriff.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm the guy for the job, than it is once I get in and do the job.
Absolutely.
I can do the job in my sleep.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I think you've already convinced them, really.
I don't know.
I think
There's
you have.
loyalties out there, but you know, all I ask for them, it's the same as when I speak before the union membership, is don't go on our personalities even, or long-time friendships. Look at the individuals on their qualifications.
Absolutely.
And and pick the individual that's going to do the best for the department.
Absolutely.
Who's the most sincere? Who's the most dedicated? All right? And I've dedicated my whole life to this job, and I love it, and I want to continue to make it better. And I want the citizens of Will County to feel safe at night. I really do.
You do get into the office that you have, you will be operating procedures for safety, #1 priority. Am I not correct about that?
Yes, Julia.
Yes.
That's my motto. The citizens of Will County need to be safe.
Absolutely.
And again, people that live in towns and incorporated areas that count on their municipal police have to realize that the sheriff's department sometimes, a lot of times, will support, if we have the staffing out there like I want, they will be supportive of a small department such as Peatone or Monique or Elwood, and we're there for them. And they've realized that, again, in the county, I mean, we'll help the municipality. So the sheriff's department does come into play with people that just doesn't live in, you know.
Well, that leads me to say that once we get that airport in, in Peatone, they're gonna need more protection out there anyway.
Yes, they
Am I
will.
not correct about that?
Yes, they will. I mean, they will have their own airport police.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
sure that as things go forward.
Okay.
But we will be a part of that
Okay.
and be working out who's actually gonna have the governing authority.
Okay.
You know, and how to work out too, that if someone does something under that airport environment,
Okay.
they'll probably be taken to the Will County Jail.
Okay, all right.
See, and that's a
okay.
huge responsibility for us too. I don't know if the citizens of Will County realize that we maintain a jail for all these, there's 26, 27 police departments in Will County. And they all bring their prisoners to Will County.
Really?
Yes.
Here, right
Yeah,
here in
we're the only
Joliet?
jail, right.
You're
We're the
kidding.
county seat and we're the jail. So again, when a police officer from a small department, and again, when I mention department,
Okay.
it's in a positive way. It's not that, but I mean to say whether it's Rockdale or
Yeah.
Elwood, they bring their prisoners to
Okay.
us. Even Joliet brings their prisoners.
Wow.
Nobody,
Well,
yeah,
see,
we're the jail.
already.
And
Yeah.
we have a huge portion of our department